Hello everyone, this is Marjorie and welcome to my channel, Jeter's Blessings. Hope you like the video below. Thank you for stopping by. And our first project is going to be a pancake wreath. This is my first time doing a pancake wreath, but I've got that beautiful sign from Craft Outlet. I've got those different ribbons from various places like Hobby Lobby and Walmart, and the 14-inch silver wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. Of course, some other items that I've got throughout, like Amazon and stuff like that, Walmart, just various tools that you'll need. I also got that beautiful white and pink striped Deco Mesh from Michaels. I'm not a big fan of Michaels Deco Mesh, but I think I had this in my stash from a long time ago when I tried to buy it for the first time. Anyways, what I'm doing is I'm placing these cable ties onto my sign, and then I'm just actually going to put some pipe cleaners in there to hold the sign, and we'll let that dry for later because I did add a dab of glue of the super glue just for weather's sake. Now I'm just showing you that there's 4 different rings. And so in between those crossbars that I'm attaching the pipe cleaners to is a section. So I'm actually adding the first pipe cleaners onto the first 2 rings of the crossbars. Now I'm going into the bottom 2 rings, and I'm just adding a pipe cleaner to the 2 outer circles, and you'll get a total of 12 pipe cleaners. Now, since there's 12 pipe cleaners, however much this mesh was, and I do apologize, I don't remember, I made this wreath several days ago, but I do cut it down to, I believe it was around 20 inches. And it's a good size length for doing the pancake wreath. So as you see, I'm just doing the normal Cruffle method. Not Cruffle. Oh, that's what I normally do. The normal ruffle method. And then I just take it and attach it to my wreath frame. Now what I do is I'm just pulling them and lapping the ends over one another to make it a little flatter and more smooth. So we're flattening out those ruffles in a sense, and we're making little circles. And here I am showing you one more time how we're going to do that. So we're going to place all of our 6 little cuts of Deco Mesh at the bottom ring and fill those up first. So here I'm just, this ribbon is a 2-inch ribbon that I actually got from Walmart a few years ago after Christmas. And I'm just cutting them at 14 inches. I'm cutting all the ribbon at 14 inches. This is a Hobby Lobby 1.5 inch wired ribbon. It's all wired ribbon. That's all I ever use. And then this beautiful red and white heart is from Craft Outlet. So I'm showing you this little contraption that I made several years ago, and it holds my spools along with the supplies that I need with my ribbons. So I made it just for the use that you see I'm using it here for. Makes it real nice, easy, and convenient. I love this. So I did buy a couple of other clear bins that I'm going to be attaching to that also, just so I can have more space for other things. But here I am just dovetailing the 2.5 inch ribbon. And then with my 1.5 inch ribbon, if you've watched me for any time making wreaths, then you know that I like to do my 1.5 inch ribbons at an angle. You can definitely dovetail them. You can do the 2.5 inch ribbons at an angle as well. Whatever your little heart desires. My 2-inch ribbon as well, I'm going in and dovetailing those. And then I'm just going to get them all together. So I'm going to use one of each ribbon to make a set of ribbons. So now that I've placed them the way I want them, I find the middle, I pinch it up, and then I take and go straight in to one of those ruffles. I don't bother to open it. And here I'm going ahead and just cutting it off because I know I'm not going to place anything else inside the pipe cleaner, and because I also know that I'm not going to use it as part of the decorations or anything. Sometimes you'll see me twirl up those little pipe cleaners, but I'm not going to do so. Again, this is a pancake wreath, so we want everything to kind of be on the bottom as flat as possible. So I'm not giving too much of a curve to the ribbon as well. And that's just because it's got to be pretty flat. So the pancake wreaths are pretty much made for those individuals that maybe have two doors, like a glass door, a sliding door, something, not a sliding door, a glass door or a screen door in front of your door. And if you don't want to put your wreath on the outside, then this is what will allow you to put it on the inside. And so I'm not going to make you watch me do the ribbon on all of these, but this is one of my fun parts of making wreaths, is seeing all the ribbon and Deco Mesh coming together. And as you see, it looks pretty full. It looks very pretty. I love the color combos. And now I'm going to do the same method. I'm just going to grab some of the mesh and I'm going to ruffle it up, scrunch between my fingers, and then I'm going to go right on top. The inner rings that I put on the crossbars, this is where I'm going to lay those down. This is going to be the top portion of the, this is going to be the top layer of the wreath. Now, I hear many people saying that they're scared of working with Deco Mesh, and please don't be scared of working with it. It can be a little frustrating at times because some of the Deco Mesh can stick to itself, to other things, but I find that a good quality mesh doesn't really do that. So this is actually a pretty good wreath that you could try out making a Deco Mesh wreath. It's pretty simple, easy to follow, and you're not using a whole lot of mesh here. I actually just took the one roll and divided it by 12, and that's how I got the measurements of the length I needed to cut it. So here, I'm just trying to find the right placement of my sign. Now, I actually made this, you'll see here in a minute, that I'm making this with a bow. So, can you have a bow in between the doors? Yes, you can, but the bow will probably get squished. And if you don't mind that, go right ahead. But if you don't want the bow, then absolutely just put this sign right in the middle, and it'll help cover up some of that exposed Deco Mesh, but it would still be a very beautiful wreath just as is. But once you get that on, I'm going to actually take a couple of pipe cleaners and twist them together to make them longer. And so I'm going to take some ribbon that I used along with, I think, a couple other ribbons maybe. And I'm going to make me a bow. So here I'm just doing 10-inch, tongue-tied today. I can't get, my mind and my mouth are not working together. But I have 8-inch tails, and the loops are 6 inches. You could do those at whatever length you want. Now, with the tails, I know I'm going to put the bow above the sign, so I'm trying to reduce the amount of ribbon that is going to be covering the sign. And so once you get it on there, then you can always go back and trim and cut it down to suffice what you're needing. So apparently I lied to you a second ago. I am only using the same 3 ribbon. I've done think it's 3 wreaths here. So I think I might have added more ribbon to others. Anyways, my mind is getting them all jumbled up. I apologize. So I just do a couple of sets of each. And then with that 1.5 inch ribbon, I just made an extra loop for the middle. And then I just attached my pipe cleaners on there. So then with all that open white space, I'm going to actually take and put my bow there. And I'll spend some time fluffing it out. My absolute most favorite part most of the time. Until I get really frustrated. But I love fluffing out the bows and making them big and pretty. Here I'm just showing you that once I have the pipe cleaners in the back, that you can either trim them down or I just wrap them around the wire frame just for a better grip. But you can always trim them down if you want. Now I'm just fluffing out all the tails from the loops, and then I'll go in and I will dovetail the 2 and 2.5 inch, and then I will trim up the 1.5 inch as well, and just making sure that everything looks beautiful. I'm trying not to cover up the sign. Sometimes it's hard not to do, but I really like the way this sign was. I thought it was really pretty. I love the colors, and so I wanted to kind of make sure those were exposed as much as possible. And I was trying to use the bow to cover up some of that extra white mesh. Now I do find that sometimes when I'm actually trimming the ribbon, I might go back a couple of times and trim off some extras. So don't stop until you have it to where you like it, where you think it's going to look good. But that's why you always make your tails a little bit longer, because I've done it before where it's like, oh, I'll just make them 6 inches or so, and when I get it on the wreath, it doesn't look good. I didn't like it, so I've wasted all of that material because I couldn't make them longer. But here's the finished look. Tell me what you think. I absolutely love this, and look how thin that is. Normally my wreaths are like 6 inch in depth from the middle, but this is gorgeous. I love it. On to our next one. We're going to make a Cruffle Wreath, and this is my favorite method. So I got this sign from Craft Outlet. The ribbon is from, one is from Hobby Lobby, one is from Michael's, and I had that Deco Mesh from, I think it was Joann's. I got it after Christmas. And then, of course, your 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath. And now, since the sign is thick enough, I'm going to go ahead and just use my staple gun, put a good couple of staples in there just to make sure that it's going to stay secure. If you want, you can add some glue, hot glue on there if it makes you feel better, so it'll have more security. It's just whatever you like. So I believe with this one, again, I don't remember the length on it, but okay. So again, I'm showing you the sections, and how I make this work wreath is just a little bit different. I'm going to take one pipe cleaner in the center of the 2 inner rings, and then I'm going to take 2 and put them on the 2 outer rings. You don't have to worry about gluing them down, because once all the mesh is on there, it stays in place. So you have a total of 18 pipe cleaners, because there are 6 sections. So I believe what I did is I cut these in 24 inches. So again, I took however much ribbon I had, however much mesh I had, and I had 2 rolls of these. So I was using one roll for each. One roll for half and another roll for another half. So 9 cable ties there. So I just took whatever the length was and divided it by 9. And that's how I got my individual cut pieces. So what you do with the Cruffle method is, you see how it curls? You just take one end and curl it in a couple of times, 2-3 times. I clip it, and then I turn it around to the other side and do the same thing, and then I scrunch them together just like the ruffle method. And it's called a cruffle because it's a combination of a cruffle and a ruffle. It's a combination of, Lord have mercy, somebody smacked me. It is a combination of a ruffle and the curl method. So I like these. These are really pretty, and look how full that is. Just one section. I only have 3 pieces in, and that is so full. Here I'm trying to show you that the mesh was fraying and to just cut it. But that was half and now of the wreath that was done, and now this is the whole wreath with all of the mesh on there. It's so hard to mess up a Deco Mesh wreath, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. For anybody who's a little skeptical about trying it, give it a try. You're gonna love it. Nobody's perfect the first time, but believe me, you'll do great. Give it a try, and hey, I'd love to see some. So I took my ribbons and I cut those at 14 inches. And all I did is I am taking the 2.5 inch ribbon, finding the middle, scrunching it up, putting it on top of each of the pipe cleaners. And I just pile everything on top of it. I don't ever open it. I just pile it right on top of the next one. So I take my 1.5 inch and I fold it over and give it about a good 3-inch loop. And then I put that right on top. And that's going to be my other little centerpiece. So I tie it in the front, and then I go behind the loop and I tie it again, and then I just trim off the excess and push it down. That way it's nice and secure, and it helps the loop stay in place. Now this is exactly what it looks like afterwards. And well, if I was smart enough, I'd shown you the depth of this one, so you'd actually see the difference between the pancake wreath and a regular wreath. And I'm so sorry, guys. But like I said earlier, the depths of these wreaths are typically around 6 inches. So here I am tying my sign up at the top, and it doesn't look like it, but my intent is for it to be at an angle. But whoever puts it on their door, whatever, it could be on an angle, it could be straight like this, however they want to design it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my ribbons and I am just going to make one bow, and we're going to attach it. Y'all, if you haven't gotten one of these yet, these easy bow makers, get one. Okay. It's a real good investment. I love bows. I love making big bows, and this really helps everything come together. It makes it really easy to do, and I mean, I have arthritis in my hands, so it's very difficult for me to hold on to everything all the time. And so, especially if my hands are aching and they're cramping and stuff, then it makes it really difficult. So, that's something that you should take into consideration. I'm sure you can buy them on Amazon. I actually bought mine from Deco Exchange, I believe. And I think it was only like $20 or something. Not really bad. I mean, especially if it's something that I use all the time. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've got hordes and hordes of craft items that I've spent way more money on that I have not even used. So this is definitely an investment. So here I am using that 1.5 inch again, and I'm just doing the loops. And see, this is where I add the extra little loop in to make the middle one. And I'm just doing the same. I've gotten into the point where I do this with a lot of my bows, because you don't want to pull too much on the bows to tighten them to the wireframe. And so I just find it a little bit easier. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But I find it a little bit easier and better for me to do this with making them longer. But I want to say the standard pipe cleaner is about 12 inches. But I think if you go to Deco Exchange, and shoot, I haven't even looked at Amazon, but there are longer, I think they're 20-inch length pipe cleaners that you can get if you want to use it to make your wreaths. Comes in real handy for the bows. No, I just really like how this one is coming out as well. It's got more neutral colors in it, but the red with the black, white, and gray is just so beautiful to me. I really like how this one turned out too. As you can see, I used some of that red, white heart ribbon that I used in the first wreath. I just used it here to add into the bow. I like to make my bows with a minimum of 3 colors, but that's just me. It's just me going overboard, guys. Sorry about that. And here is the finished product. Tell me what you guys think about this one. I'd love to hear your comments, or read your comments in the comments below, please. For our final project, we have a Valentine's Swag. So I've got these. The sign was from Craft Outlet. I've got these jumbo sticks from, oh, that was Hobby Lobby. It was on sale. There's a couple of, the last 2 ribbons were from Hobby Lobby, and I may not use, I think there's one I don't use. The sign is from Craft Outlet, and here I am just about to take and do as I did with the first wreath and glue on some of these cable mounts. Now, I messed up on this one, and I'll have to fix it later on in the video because of the frame that I was using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 regular gallon stir sticks, and I'm going to attach them together. But when I added these on here, I added the cable ties as though I was doing a normal wreath. So it didn't work, and I had to go and remove the 2 and place it in the middle so I could better attach the sign. Now here I just added an extra hot glue, the little thing, since I put the super glue on there, we're moving around, so the hot glue I just added on there to help keep it in place. So I take 2 and butt them up to the ends. Now here I was testing it out, but as you'll see, yep, went right through. So it didn't go through very far, so I took this jumbo stick because I was going to use it to make it more sturdy, and I just hot glue it on there, and then you'll see that I go back through and I actually use the staple gun and staple all the wood together to make it more stable. You can go ahead and add some hot glue on top of the staples if you want, if you're worried about them actually scraping the door or anything, but that's what I do. And you'll see I put the globs on there, but you know, I kind of thinned it out where it still covered the staples, but it wasn't like a big old glob on there. So here I am. I'm using obviously where I glued the two ends together as the middle piece. And I'm attaching these pipe cleaners. Now I'll tell you, these pipe cleaners were given to me and I'm very appreciative of them. But I just don't like Dollar Tree pipe cleaners. But they do the trick. I'm just used to certain things, and I like my little fuzzy pipe cleaners that I normally get from Hobby Lobby or Craft Outlet. But it's just like these. There's not much material that covers the wire, and I don't know. Sometimes the little fuzzy stuff kind of moves. Now you'll see what I'm doing is I was just trying to measure where the half mark was and seeing where I needed to place my next pipe cleaners. So I put it in the middle, and then I put another set just right up under the curve, and then it was about 4.5 inches from both areas is where I put the rest of the pipe cleaners. And I'm just turning it around to do it the same thing, just to have the symmetry on there. Now in the middle of the top portion, I only put the one initially, but I do go back in and I do make them just like the rest. That way there's 15 ties on both sides. I mean, there's 5 ties on both sides and 5 ties in the middle. Now what I want to show you here is I'm just putting a hanger on it. I don't like to just put the pipe cleaner hangers on there. I don't know, I just don't like them. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking some jute cord and I am making a loop around and just using the handle as a guide around the paint stir stick. And once I get that where I want it, I just cut it off, and then I will take and wrap the jute string around to cover up some of that. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Yeah, I just put a little bit of glue down to tack it down, and then I just go ahead and wrap it around there until I got it covered like I wanted. Then, yep, favorite part, burning it, getting that good high off of that smell. I don't know why I like that smell. I just do. But here you see I'm just trying to make sure everything's straightened out again, and got to clean up my workstation. So I tell you, you got to be careful when you're working with wired ribbon and you're cutting a lot of it. You can get little remnants of the wire, and it can stick you in your skin so deep that you don't even realize it's there and cause problems days later. So I got these alligator clips, and I got them off of Amazon, and I got these, of course, Dollar Tree hearts, and I'm attaching my alligator clips to the heart, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue about the bottom just to make sure it stays safe. Now, since I accidentally poked a hole in it, some white stuffing, the styrofoam was poking through, so what I did is I just had the little remnants of red glitter and put it back on there. So I had this 21-inch mesh from Joann's in an after Christmas sale probably a couple years ago, and I'm just gathering it together at the end, and then what I'll do is place it into one of the pipe cleaners on one side at the top, and I'll take that and measure out 10 inches from that pipe cleaner, and then I make a loop at the top to attach it to the next side. So, and then I just continue on from pipe cleaner to pipe cleaner. I continuously measure out 10 inches and add them into the next pipe cleaner. So I do add this mesh into every pipe cleaner that we have. And then the way that I did the bottom is the same way that I did the top. I just looped the Deco Mesh, looped it over to where there's a loop, and we'll use that loop before it's all said and done as something to help hide some of the not so pretty parts of the wreath. Just where I cut the Deco Mesh off, that's all it is. The excess will hide in there. So this is where I'm saying measured out 10 inches, and we did another loop at the bottom to help cover that bottom portion of the stick. Now y'all don't have to use 21-inch Deco Mesh to actually make these loops. You can use the 10-inch mesh and it works just fine. So then I've got both sides done. I'm taking that and measuring out 10 inches again so I can put it into the middle of the swag. This is just really the base of the swag, and it helps to make things more fluffy, gives it more, dimension. And this here is what I'm talking about. So I go ahead and I just cut off a little bit extra, enough that I know will tuck away in there. I didn't tack it down with a pipe cleaner, zip tie, or nothing. I just tucked that bad boy right in there and it worked perfectly. So here I am, and again, I did cut these, I believe, at 24 inches as well. This is Hobby Lobby mesh, and I don't really like Hobby Lobby mesh either, but I'm using some mesh that I've had for a long time that I just didn't want to use because I didn't really like it, and that's why I'm using this pink one. Now that Joann's mesh is pretty good. And I'm doing the Cruffle method on here again. Now I do take and I put one in every pipe cleaner, so you'll need 15 of these Cruffles. I do try to make sure that I have my Cruffle in the middle when I'm attaching it to the frame. And this is what it looks like all done. I'm just looking to make sure that's the top. And this is where I find out, Marjorie, you're a ding dong. But I realized, okay, this is not going to work. So this is where I have to take them off and put it right back in the middle. But I did it the same way. So, and then all I do is I take the pipe cleaner and I'm actually able to finagle it around some of the mesh. But because it's so puffy, the mesh, and you don't want to crush any of that by pulling your sign or your bows too tight, I go ahead and add on some extra pipe cleaners to make them long. But as you see, I'm digging through some of the mesh and finding a way to help get this attached. And this is what the back looks like. Most of that stick is covered up with the mesh, and you don't see a lot of the stick or the pipe cleaners, so it looks pretty nice. I like it. I personally don't know if I would sell something that I made from a paint stir stick. I don't know. Give away, yes. To sell, I don't know. I haven't thought about that yet. But I do like to give a lot of my wreaths away. I do like to bring happiness, just little gifts here and there sometimes, just to say thank you or whatever. I'm blessed, and so I like to bless other people, even if it is with just little things. So I've got 2 different sets of ribbon because I have 4 ribbons, 2 2-inches and 2 1.5 inches. So these 2 ribbons, you'll see that I got this pretty love, black and red love with the pink plaid I got from Craft Outlet. That black and white Harley Quinn I got from Craft Outlet. And that 1.5 inch pink with the little red hearts, I got that from Hobby Lobby. And I'm only going to put the ribbon tails on the edges. So there's a total of 10. So I just had to cut 5 sets of each. But I do know that I will be adding a couple bows on here. So here I am trying to find out how I'm going to attach the little hearts. At first I was trying to attach them to some of the Deco Mesh, but I'm like, that's just not going to work. So I attached it to the paint stir stick, and that helped out. Now here's me. I had made these little fuzzy hearts, but I ended up cutting that out of the video. I showed you how I made them, but I didn't like the color. The pink on there was just not bright enough, and so I just took those away. I didn't use them. And again, here I am going to show you how to make a beautiful bow. Yes, you'll see all the numbers on the spool. That's the price of the material that I bought. So because I buy so much at one time, I try to make sure I keep it on the spool. So that way when I sell them, I know how much I need to charge. Now I did see a video of I don't have a Sam's close to me. I have a Costco's. I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but I have a Costco's, and I don't ever really see them selling a ribbon. But y'all, I went to Sam's with my mom, and they had some really pretty ribbon. Now this was around Christmas time. I'd always heard people talk about it, but I'd never been to Sam's when they had ribbon. And so it was a really good deal. I think it was like 50 yards for $8. So I bought what I could, especially when you know there's things that you can use for different seasons throughout the whole year. Make sure you get what you can. But I did see a video of the new spring ribbon Sam has out, and I really wanted to go check it out. So I may have to hit up my mom so me and my mom can go. But yeah, I mean, you can't beat 50 yards for $8. And this is beautiful ribbon. The ribbon that I used from Sam's before, it was pretty good quality. Really nice quality. So go check them out too. I think there was a couple of stuff for like 4th of July on it as well. So here I'm just attaching the bow. I'm actually going to make 2 bows, one for the top and one for the bottom. And they're going to attach they're going to attach the same way as the sign did. I just make the pipe cleaner a little longer to make sure it goes over the Deco Mesh. And I was going to add more to this, but as I got, as I got both of the bows on there, I just realized it was enough. So this is the end result. And I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching my video. And if you would, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you guys. Y'all have a blessed day.